we actually didn't know he was adopted.
Yeah.
None of us did. We thought that his parents were his parents for his whole life.
I see.
But it kind of made sense because he looks nothing like the mom and dad whatsoever.
Yeah.
Later on in life, he found out that he was adopted. I don't know how he did, but the dad didn't tell him. But he found out on his own somehow.
Okay.
He was completely normal before. Has a conversation with his dad, and he lets him know where his parents. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome.
I didn't say it, but I was thinking in my head.
Everybody knows what that shit is, man. Who the fuck was that?
Wasn't it Dave Chappelle?
It was Dave Chappelle was making fun of. Was he a presidential candidate?
Oh, that's right.
Who the fuck was that though?
Fuck, I forget.
I bet you if I Google Bia right now, that shit'll pop up, dude. I'm gonna put presidential Bia. Presidential Bia. But Dave Chappelle made fun of it.
Yeah.
2000. This is the first thing that pops up. 2004. The scream that doomed Howard Dean. Isn't that fucking funny? Dog, it's in Wikipedia. It's called the Dean Scream. I didn't know it had a title.
Wow.
The Dean Scream, also known as I Have a Scream, was a speech delivered by Vermont Governor Howard Dean on January 19th, 2004 at the Valere Ballroom in West Des Moines, Iowa. That night, the presidential candidate, he was a presidential candidate, had just lost the Iowa caucus to John Kerry and wanted to reassure his supporters he was going to win. The speech involved Dean loudly listing states he would win to a raucous audience before screaming, "Yeah!" Within 4 days, it was broadcast 633 times on national news networks and cables.
Wow.
The audio used in his airings of the scream was for Dean's unidirectional microphone, which decreased the volume of the background noise to the point where only Dean's voice was audible.
I can't believe there's an official write-up about that.
We're going to take Wisconsin. We're going to take out. Damn, it actually has a title.
That's crazy.
I heard that shit ruined his presidential candidacy.
Really?
Like, after that, it just fucked him up.
I would feel like that would elevate him to another.
I think now it would. I think because the way you get elected to be a president, this type of malarkey is the shid that'll do well.
That's true. I mean, shit, if Dave Chappelle's making fun of you in this day and age, man, the type of exposure you'd get, you'd instantly become relevant overnight,
Did you see this? I started watching this weird fucking doc on Next. It was like The Neighbor Next Door or something like that. Have you seen that shit?
No, Neighbor Next Door?
I'm gonna ruin it for you.
No, ruin it yet. Come on. No, if you want me to watch it, that gives me zero incentive to watch it then.
This podcast is brought to you by MATCHA. Do you hate the jitters and crash that coffee gives you? Well, say no more, my friends, because hundreds of thousands of people are drinking MATCHA, not only for the health benefits, but for the caffeine boost that lasts without the crash of coffee. You can mix it, have it hot, ice cold, or try it with your favorite juices and have fun with it. Remember, not all matcha is created the same, and Junbi has the highest quality matcha you can find straight from a farm in Japan, handpicked and curated to get you the best quality there is. No competition. To get 10% off your first order of tins and packets, go to junbishop.com. That's JUNBI shop.com and enter code GeniusBrain to get 10% off your first order. That's JUNBI shop.com, code GeniusBrain.
You know what's an interesting show that reminds me of when you say that? It's It's that show where they interview serial killers across the country.
I haven't seen that.
What was the name of it? God, I'm so bad with these names.
Is it?
Man.
So am I, dude. I just watch shit.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's not like it's a fictional show.
Okay.
Yeah, but the serial killers that they interview are real serial killers. So it's kind of the same thing. How some of these serial killers, they're just sociopaths. You know, they lie so fluidly and Mindhunter. There you go. That's the name of it. Yeah. That kind of show revolves around that whole thing. Is like this guy who's kind of green in the psychological field for the FBI. So the FBI is creating this. They're starting to delve into the psychological aspects of. Is there something wrong with these serial killers, or are they just killing? And then so once they start delving into that, this guy starts interviewing these serial killers, and then there's a fine line between, you know, what they're telling as the truth and what they're telling as lies. And he can't really distinguish that at the beginning because he's kind of naive, right? Yeah. They don't go in with an expectation of like, yeah, we got to expect these guys to lie and to be very charming and to be
That's
able to.
That's the weird part, when the serial killers are very fucking charming. Yeah. It's almost like they're consistently playing this role, like this acting role for the rest of their fucking lives.
Yeah. That's why they're fucking sociopaths.
It's creepy.
They know what they need to do to appear normal and to appear trustworthy and credible. Yeah. And then they kind of, I guess, play to the room or whoever they're getting interviewed by to basically sweet talk them and charm them.
They're almost like an alien trying to play a human.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because you know these motherfuckers are crazy.
They're fucking nuts. Yeah. There was a podcast that that would explain these. It was all different type of murders and serial killers. I forgot which one it was, but my brother also got me into that. But I stopped listening to it because it was giving me nightmares. Because it was so vivid. Because you're hearing these interrogation and these audio tapes. There was this one specific serial killer that would only kill. I think he could have killed his whole family. And I might be misquoting this, but there's a very specific part where he had a daughter and he was like sexually abusing this daughter. Oh man. But he would talk about what he would do to his daughter as if it was just common sense. Right. Like, why wouldn't I do this?
As a matter of fact.
As a matter of fact. Something specifically that he used to do, he would make her hold in her pee for the longest time. Oh my God. And I forgot what it was exactly, but she would have to pee a certain way or do something the way he did. And if she didn't, or if she would pee when he wouldn't tell her to, he would beat her fucking ass. And he would talk about it as if like, yeah, well, you know, when she was in the bathroom and she would, you know, she would defecate or urinate inside there without me telling to her, I'd fuck her up. Like as if the person he's telling does that to their kid as well. Right. You know?
Those guys, I mean, look, man, any type of serial killer are obviously heinous human beings, but the ones who fuck with kids, like for me, that's like the worst of the worst, you know, because you're taking these tiny human beings who need to be shaped by you, who need to be nurtured and cared for by you, but you are basically destroying them, you know? And then if you kill them, that actually might be a blessing, because at least you end the fucking misery and suffering that you're putting them through, right? Then if you don't kill them,
it was like that case of with, you know, Gabriel Hernandez. Remember those, the stepfather and the mother just beating the shit out of that kid?
They did some fucking terrible things to him.
That shit was nuts. Just in the beginning of the doc where they were talking about how his head and his skull felt like Rice Krispies. Right. They found cat litter in his stomach. They found a bunch of weird things in there, like paper or some shit like that. They would put him in the closet for the longest time.
I think for like weeks on end or some shit, right?
The saddest part was when he was the teacher who knew something was wrong, but she couldn't help him out, even though she went through every single avenue and facet to make sure that he got the help he needed. Yeah. And it was Mother's Day, and this was 2 days before he died. Yeah. And everybody was making a card, and she talked to Gabriel Hernandez. She was asking him, like, you don't have to make this card for her. He goes, no, I want to. Like, he was super excited, writing how much he loves his mom, how pretty she is, even though she's one of the ugliest fucking people I've ever seen in my life.
And also one of the worst human beings
for
ever,
sure.
Right? But I mean, that proves my point, though. It's like, despite all the heinous things like she did to him, there was still a love for her inside of him. Yeah. You know? And that's the nature of a child, right? They're like puppies, right? They just look to you because you're a source of like care for them, anyway, supposed to be. And even though you do these things to them, they still feel love for you. They still feel care for you.
I always wonder too what would happen to some of these kids who survive. Like these serial killers too, some of them have families that they don't fuck up their family. But later on, these kids, like, what happens when they find out who their parents really are? Oh, I'm sure. If they did fuck up stuff, you know, fucked up shit to them, only because I know of somebody, and it has nothing to do with like serial killing, right? Yeah. But this person was adopted. We actually didn't know he was adopted. Yeah. None of us did. We thought that his parents were his parents for his whole life.
I see.
But it kind of made sense because he looks nothing like the mom and dad whatsoever. Yeah. Later on in life, he found out that he was adopted. I don't know how he did, but the dad didn't tell him, but he found out on his own somehow.
Okay.
He was completely normal before. Has a conversation with his dad, and he lets him know where his parents are, where his mom is. So his mom is actually in a psych ward. So she was like a high-end schizophrenic. I'm not sure if that's the actual term, but she deals with like severe schizophrenia, right? And him hearing that made him freak the fuck out, right? And I think I don't know what happened to him mentally. This is somebody that's not close to me. I know of him. But something happened in between that time where something weird happened to him. When he found out that his mom had schizophrenia, it triggered something in his head. And then he started hearing voices too.
Wow.
Which I didn't know. Like, if you're a psychiatrist or something and you can clarify about this type of stuff, let me know, because I didn't know that stuff could be hereditary, or maybe it's because he just kind of like freaked out and psyched himself out into hearing
something
shit.
Snapped in his
so
in his
he
mind.
ends up just letting go of his career. Everything disappears, and kind of starts doing like a lot of religious cultist shit.
Okay.
Gave up all of his worldly possessions. Everything. And later on, lo and behold, a buddy of mine told me, a mutual friend of ours told me that, he actually was in the hospital. I was like, what happened to this dude? Well, he thought, he told me that he thought he heard the voice of God talking to him.
Oh no.
And he started getting butt naked and climbing up a fucking like mountainside, like one of those hillsides with, with the roads and shit like that, because he kept hearing the voice of God. And so he was trying to find God. And then a fucking car hit him.
Oh my god!
And like broke his fucking back and everything.
Shit.
He can walk and shit now, and he's okay. I'm pretty sure he's gonna have chronic pain for the rest of his life. But the thing that triggered all that shit was him finding out that he was adopted, which already was trauma he didn't know for 20 some odd years of his life, and then on top of that, found out his mom is in a psych ward for.
That's crazy, man. I mean, I can understand kind of going down a dark hole after you find out that you're adopted. That's a lot to process, especially in
your whole life is like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. You question everything, your whole existence. I'm not who I thought I was. These people, they're technically your mom and dad, but not biologically, right? So I'm sure, man, that fucks you up on some level, but then this guy is like a step beyond that, in the worst way. In the worst way possible. But schizophrenia, man, that shit's real. I mean, I told you the story about the neighbor, my parents' neighbor. The kid was schizophrenic, remember? I think I talked about it on the podcast before.
Maybe.
Yeah, this dude came like, making threats and like, remember he called me the hacker who said I was going to butt rape him?
That's right.
That's right. But that shit was very real to him in his head. Yeah. And so.
How old was he?
He was probably like 15, 16 years old. So like when he was accusing me of that, you could see kind of like the conviction. Like this dude was convicted.
You started thinking like, did I butt rape this guy?
I'm like, what?
Did I do this?
It makes you kind of a second guess. Like, wait, hold on.
I was like, wait, was it good? Did you enjoy it? Did I enjoy it?
He said I was going to, like that I threatened him that I'm going to, butt rape him.
What a very specific thing. Dog, I would have been like, you better get the fuck out of my face.
That's exactly what my response was, man. But that's the thing, man. It's
American Tushik, dude.
When they hear those voices in their head, man, that shit is very. Remember, I told you this dude ended up trying to rape his mom.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he cornered her in the house, and then that's what ultimately made them send him away to get treatment.
I like how that's the last straw. It's like. The fucking screaming butt rape thing wasn't the thing. Like, I would have been like, I can't handle this type of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He's trying to rape his mom. That's fucking nuts.
That's what I heard. Because the thing is, like, they had some other people living at the home, and I was asking, like, so what happened to? I forget what his name was, but I was like, what happened? Like, is he cool now? It's like, oh no, they sent him away to get treatment. I was like, oh shit, did something bad happen? He's like, yeah, like he tried to pin his mom, like corner his mom, and like rape her. I was like, what the fuck? I was like,
did he have a dad around?
They do have a dad, but the dad wasn't around. Yeah, it was just a mom. But I said it in the podcast too. But her mom, the guy's mom, was off too. Okay, she wasn't. Yes, it's just she was kind of off. I don't know in what way, but you know what I'm talking about.
It's not all there.
Yeah. When you interact with somebody, you're like, oh, all right. They're not playing with the full card, full deck of cards.
I wonder how that works because my brother right now, he lives in a condo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's an apartment-sized condo type of thing. He rents it out from the tenant.
Mm-hmm.
His neighbor deals with some type of mental ailment to the point where she's like every night she fucking screams and starts crying for like 2-3 hours every night. And so, well, the good thing is my brother's rent got reduced by $400 a month.
Just because of that?
Yeah. He's like, I gotta leave because they didn't. You have to legally disclose that type of stuff before a tenant comes in, and so they're like, my brother's like, I'm gonna leave, but they can't get somebody else to move in if they know about that type of stuff.
Right.
Because not only does she scream at the top of her lungs, like crying or whatever,
dude, that's hard to be around, man.
And then because I mean, it's screaming.
Yeah.
I could hear it because he will post it on his stories like, hey, what do I do? Asking people, what do I do about this?
Yeah.
She also smells really bad because she's not bathing herself. And so when I went to go visit him in San Diego a couple of months ago, in my mind, I'm like, yo, how bad can this be? Dog, it's loud, like screaming, dude.
Really?
Like she could do like death metal rock.
She lives by herself?
She lives by herself. So that's the thing, right? So I'm trying to figure out, they said that she can't be removed from that place. I mean, there's an HOA and everything else like that, but I guess like legally she could still take care of herself, quote unquote.
Ow.
I don't know. But when I walked in front of his house, I thought somebody shit and piss all over the place. I was like, yo, what the fuck is this smell?
Oh my God.
And then my brother's like, it's actually her house because she leaves the windows open.
Oh my God.
So
that's so bad, dude.
Her house actually kind of smells like the streets of LA and around Skid Row.
Oh my God.
That's how bad it smells. And so everybody's trying to figure out how to help her. But they don't know. They're like, well, she can't take care of herself. She has to have somebody come and take her away, or send her to a place where she could be taken care of. But they're like, no, legally she's still taking care of herself. She's paying the bills and everything on time, so they can't do anything, and then she has to want the help.
At least, I mean, like an emergency contact or something, like just reach out to somebody. I mean, because she clearly is having some sort of episode. You know?
Every fucking night. And so my brother once saw her in the parking lot, and she was like on the floor crying, asking for help. And so my brother had to actually help pick her up and take her to her apartment. But she smelled like piss and shit.
Oh,
so
God.
he was like helping her up and trying not to yak at the same time. So I felt it's like, what does he do? He's like, he's not going to leave this lady on the floor. And he had a conversation and talked to her. And I think at that time he assumed that she was kind of all there. And then I think when he had more interactions with her, he found out that she's actually a little mentally ill.
I see. I mean, look, it sounds, if she has moments of clarity, then it sounds like it's episodes rather than like her constant state of being.
Yeah.
But either way, if she's having episodes on a constant basis like that and is screaming at the top of her lungs and isn't even practicing basic hygiene, hygiene, like, come on, man. Somebody got to help her.
We were talking about this earlier. In Los Angeles specifically, I understand why people are just leaving to Texas now at this point. Specifically in Los Angeles, like the homeless situation here has gotten so terrible and out of hand. Like,
dude,
like me and Bart, we went to go eat. We went to get like some drinks in Little Tokyo. And usually Skid Row stays in a certain area. If you guys haven't been to Skid Row in Los Angeles, you don't know what it looks like. It's basically a hobo town. But it's ridden with just drugs. And that's not me saying this as like a stereotype or anything like that, or making
Skid Row's real.
No, this is not an assumption from the outside. Like the drug problem in Skid Row is a fucking issue. It's gotten to the point now where at that area, like a medieval disease came back, like leprosy or some shit like that, because the hygiene is so bad there.
I was actually just talking to some of my friends earlier, and I was telling them that for the first time, I'm considering leaving LA. Because that was exactly it. Homeless problems, and like it just has become so dirty, Well,
it's fucked up. And then what the fuck are we paying for? We have the highest taxes in California. And so like I want to know where you're allocating this fucking money, because this place is looking shittier and trashier every day. And I'm getting a little tired of it.
I mean, and the pandemic didn't help,
No, it did not.
Because there was a period of time when all these businesses were closed, and so like the encampments, homeless encampments, just started migrating into all the main areas. And look, I'm not saying that these homeless people shouldn't be helped. They need to be helped. Obviously, the homeless problem in LA has been a plague for decades.
Dog, it's hard to help somebody when they're blowing crack in somebody else's asshole. Like that's the dog, there's this video on Twitter. This is real shit. Yeah. It is a video of a homeless dude smoking crack, and he blew the crack into the other dude's asshole, and the other motherfucker was like, "Thank you." He smoked the crack pipe and blew it right back in the other dude's asshole. I'm like, yo, I didn't know you could get high through the anus.
Hey man,
that shit.
Crack is a hell of a drug. You know, that's gonna make you do some crazy shit. But no, I feel it, man. I mean, I'm around LA all the time. I mean, that's where I live, so I'm just driving around. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on, man? Like this, it's just getting worse and worse. And the thing is, it's like for me, I don't necessarily want to be around that where I live. You know, I don't want to be exposed to like that type of I guess dirtiness, like just having fucking piss and shit on the sidewalk. And it's like, dude, come on, man, you guys gotta do something about this shit, man. Like it's just bleeding into everywhere, all the residential areas, and it's like
it's problematic because when I first came to Los Angeles, I was volunteering at a lot of homeless shelters. It's something that I used to do in Sacramento, so I just did it over here. I mentioned the story a long time ago, but I stopped doing that shit because a homeless dude spit right in my fucking face. Like we were passing out fucking food, and the dude literally just went fucking Spider-Man web spit all over my ice cream. I was like, oh fuck, oh shit. But you know, that's not, it just kind of traumatized me a little bit after that. But just having but that's leading to the conversation I had with the people who were running the thing. And I was asking them, it's like, there's a lot. We were talking about the homeless issue, and I'm not sure if this is true if you guys work at a shelter, but this is what was told to me about 10 years ago. And they were telling me that in Los Angeles, it's not a food problem. So when you see homeless people here, we have a lot of functions where homeless people can come. They know where these shelters are. They know where to get food. They can get free food easily. They goes, if you were homeless the next day, I can give you a bunch of resources where I can make sure that you get 3 hot meals a day or any type of meal a day. You won't go hungry. It's just obviously you won't have a house to be at, but in terms of food, you'll be fine. So he was telling me specifically in that area in Los Angeles, when people are asking you for money and they're like, I'm really hungry, they're not hungry. Like, I know these guys. Like, I work here. This is my living. They're using that money for drugs. That's the problem. So he goes,
for sure.
I guarantee you, if you told them, hey, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll buy you a hot meal, they'll tell you to fuck off. And that's happened to me multiple times.
No, I know, man. Like, the drug problem is definitely a huge problem within the homeless community, and also mental issues, right? Because a lot of the funding, when it was cut for like these mental institution, these people who were getting treated had nowhere to go.
Well, when was that? That was like what, the late 80s, early 90s or something? I think
it was the 80s. Yeah.
I forgot what that shit was, but I've heard of it. I haven't really looked into it, but it was something where they just started sending people who were mentally ill out into the streets. Right? And they're still out
there's nowhere to go. Nowhere to go, man. Once funding disappeared for those places, where are you going to send those people, right? And then so I think that makes up a bulk of the homeless community is drug abusers and people with mental issues, mental diseases,
blowing crack in assholes, dude. That's exactly what's happening, dude.
I mean, even in Little Tokyo, man, there's this lady who used to always go around there. She looks like a normal person, but then she always has the same story, like down to the last detail of why
Are you talking about the lady AIDS lady?
I think the white lady,
the blonde one, right?
Yeah.
Yo, if this lady come up to me one more time and she got AIDS, I'm like, listen, you've been living with AIDS for damn near fucking 10 years now. You know the other dude with the tattoo on his head?
Oh yeah.
You know that guy, right?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. So you know the same people. Yeah. Let me tell you something. Listen, I'm not a homeless person, right? But I know I have tact about how to ask money.
Yeah.
AIDS lady is the most hilarious lady of all because she has no tact. She just comes up, she goes, excuse me, sir. I have AIDS. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? What? Yo, ease me into the conversation. And that's all she says. And then she just asks for money after. I'm like, you could have just asked for money. I don't need to know the AIDS part, which you don't have.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's some of these people who've recited their story over and over again, and they try to appear as normal as possible and make it seem like they just really need a little bit of money, a little bit of help from you, but clearly that money is
that number tattoo guy. I heard his spiel so often when I was in Little Tokyo all the time. Excuse me, sir, I just got out of prison a couple of days ago. As you can see from the tattoo from my forehead, this is the reason why I can't have a job. He did that shit. I gave him $5 once. He forgot he asked me for money. He turned around and he's like, excuse me, sir, I just got out of jail I was like, I just gave you $5. He goes, all right. He just walks by. Same shit. He says a couple of days ago. I'm like, bro, I don't know, a couple of days, dog.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Is like, for me, you know, I was born and raised here, and so like you kind of get desensitized to that shit. You see a lot of the cases where like when you do try to help them out, that they don't want the food that they're saying that they need the money for. And it's like, okay, well, if that's the fucking case,
because I'll buy them like a Subway sandwich or something.
No, I mean, I've seen you do it too. You know, and so like, I would say 1 out of 10 times they'll actually take you up on that offer.
It's very few and far between.
Yeah. And then so like, if that's the case, it's like, come on, man, you know where that money's gonna go, bro.
There's a kid too that's actually in K-Town. It's like this young black kid. He's probably in his like mid-20s now. Maybe he was like 18 at the time. But I was at Subway, and you know, like this is when I first came to LA. I didn't have a lot of fucking money. And so I remember this guy. Number one, I didn't like being touched if I don't fucking know you.
Oh, that's like the worst thing for me, bro.
I'm about to go into the Subway. This dude grabs my shoulder. Right, and I'm like, the fuck, right? It's like, hey sir, it's like, yo, can you buy me like a sandwich or whatever? And this guy's a good looking young 18-year-old dude. And I'm like, I was like, hey, number one, don't touch me. But I was like, number two, it's like, yeah, I'll get you a sandwich. Like, it's not a problem. It's coming in, and I just, you know, I think when I look at somebody like him and he's very capable, right? I was like, hey bro, I'm gonna buy you a sandwich and a meal, but I want to ask you a question, right? And I was like, you look at me, right? I'm like, if you don't know this, but I'm really broke right now. I don't actually have a lot of fucking money, you know, which is why I'm also eating at the Subway with you. I'm gonna get you the sandwich. But I see you're a good looking dude. You're 18 years old. You look fine. Like, what's your story? Right? He's like, yeah, I dropped out of high school, and you know, I don't want to work a job. I don't want to do anything. So I'm just like out here living my life. And I'm like, hold on a second, man. And so I looked at him. I was like, so you think it's fair for me, where I'm barely making ends meet, barely being able to pay my rent, you know, trying to make it out here in the city that I just moved into. You'll take my money because you don't want to work, and I should buy you a sandwich when I'm over here struggling to pay for my own stuff. Right. And he got really fucking quiet. I'm like, so you don't want to work simply because you don't want to work.
You just want to be lazy.
I was like, that's it? I was like, you know, I'll be real with you, man. Like, that's kind of fucked up, you know, that you would take my money to feed yourself when I have to work my ass off for my paycheck. You know, and I remember after I said that, this fool got dead quiet. He goes, hey man, you ain't gotta buy me a sandwich or nothing like that. I was like, no, I'm gonna buy you the sandwich. You know what I mean? He's like, nah, you don't got to. I was like, no, I'm gonna get you the sandwich, dog.
You should have told him, well, I was just gonna get a 6-inch for me, 6-inch for you, but I guess I mean the foot long because you ain't getting one.
This fool was like, oh shit, this fool just lectured me, man. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get you this sandwich. But I bought him the sandwich, and it's funny because he ended up going towards that 7-Eleven near not near Chapman, but near Cafe Blue, that, you know, everybody holds the door open. He became a door opening dude over there. But the funny thing is, he remembered me because I gave him that talk. He just never asked me for money. Just opened the door. He's like, what's up, man? He's opened the door for me because it sucks. You know, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, yo, it's cool to live your life like that. But I'm just curious when I see a good looking, young, strong, capable man.
No, it's not cool to live your life like that, bro. If you're fully capable, if you don't have anything like impeding you from like getting a job and being able to support yourself, and your only excuse is I'm just lazy and I don't want to do that, that's not cool, bro. That is not cool. You're spitting in the face of everybody else who like is pulling tooth and nail to make it work for themselves. You know what I mean? And then and you're leeching off of that. Like, those people, I don't feel should get any compassion from people who are supporting themselves. Because again, if you're able and the opportunities are there, now I'm not saying you're gonna have like a comfortable, lavish life, but I'm saying you could do enough for yourself to get a roof over your head, some clothes on your back, and a hot meal on the table. And if you choose not to do that again only because you're lazy, bro, you don't deserve anything from anyone.
It's weird because that option is always there, and I've always kind of like, I don't want to say scrutinize people on this type of stuff, but it's more like, because I know how hard my parents worked to get their paycheck, right? And, you know, I've been asked this question a lot. It's, you know, what would you have done without YouTube? I was like, I would have figured it out.
Exactly.
I would have worked a job, anything. I would have worked 4, 5, 6 jobs. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
If I need to figure out what my means to an end is.
Yeah.
And so when people think like, oh, when this whole space explodes, what would you do? Bitch, I got skills, son. I'll do something. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Motherfucker, I'll pop lock in Santa Monica. I'll be out here dressed up all in silver, doing the robot, like getting dollars. I'll figure that shit out, dude. Like, don't worry. And I have no shame too. If I ended up to a point where people are like, oh my God, like you lost everything. So I guess I got to start from the ground up again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what it is. You might feel embarrassed for me. I don't have to feel embarrassed for myself because I know my situation.
Yeah.
And when you come from nothing, it is what it is. That's life, dude.
Right. For sure. And that's what I'm saying is that, look, you're first of all blessed to be born in this country, right? I mean, despite the problems here, let's be real, man. Versus a lot of other countries out there in the world.
You have a ladder to climb that you're very capable of climbing.
Exactly.
In this country.
Exactly. America will give you a leg up over a lot of other countries and the opportunities that are available to the average person in other countries. And then so to have that and then to just basically be like, nah, you know, I don't ever want to do anything. And I just want to freeload and I just want to leech. It's like, well, then yeah, you deserve to fucking be on the street and you deserve to have nothing.
It's hard to tell that to, I think, to a lot of immigrants, right? Asian, African, Latino, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Immigrants have a hard time empathizing with people who grew up in this country that know the language, that understand the system. To a certain extent, right? Obviously, there's other factors like racism and systemic racism and stuff like that. But it's sometimes hard just to give a perspective for other people when they don't understand like why immigrants don't get it. Is because they're seeing it through their lens. It's like I came into this country, didn't know the fucking language, and I figured it out.
Yeah,
right?
with no money,
money, did fucking 3 jobs, blue collar work just to get by.
Yeah.
And then you hear somebody you see somebody begging for money. You hear that they speak perfect English. They're smoking cigarettes. They're having beer. And then an immigrant person is like, what the fuck do you have this shit for? This is luxury shit. You get to have that only because it's a luxury.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to empathize for people who came from nothing, specifically if you're talking to like a refugee. Like,
for sure,
like,
dude, for
like
sure.
refugees who escape war-torn countries.
Yeah.
Like my friend Abinu Win, she's a 1FC fighter, right? She said this funny ass, it was funny, but it's really true.
Yeah.
Where she would hear people growing up, and she's a Vietnamese refugee, and she would hear people like complaining in Oakland about, this like, oh, like my fucking AC's not working. She's like, you guys have AC? You know what I mean? She came from Vietnam.
Yeah.
She goes, hold on, you guys got AC?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. What is AC?
It's like, I lived in a hut. Like, what the fuck? I lived in a fucking village. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
So, that perspective flip was a huge thing. Like, so can you really complain to B about you not being able to do this stuff? She came from a place where fucking electricity wasn't an option. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a weird concept.
No, for sure. It's a different perspective when you're coming from a situation like that. But I you can't instill like, I guess a will into people. You can't instill that type of like motivation if they don't have it. And so it's like, hey man, if that's what you want for yourself, then so be it. But don't expect anything either, See,
that was the thing too. Like, we were having a conversation about this where we were saying, well, I've kind of started to figure this stuff out too. I think when I was younger, I think a lot of young people can understand this. When we're younger, we tend to get upset at other people who aren't living the same life that we are, right? But there's a flaw in that mentality because instead of saying like, oh, if you're not on my level, fuck you, it should be more like you should learn how to compartmentalize your friendships, right?
Yeah.
Understand who this person is and understand where they're going to go.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be upset at somebody else for not being able to achieve the stuff that you think that they can achieve. Because now you're just being their parent. It is not your job to be their parent.
For sure.
And it's better to help save your friendship and your relationships with people by understanding their capabilities and expecting what you can expect from them.
Yeah.
So, because, like we've talked about a mutual friend too who highly talented, can do whatever the fuck he wants. But in his mind, from our perspective, from what we've seen, it's like he will choose to do stuff that's very comfortable, the way that he wants to do it simply because the discomfort bothers him a lot, right?
Yeah.
And for us, we can be like, yo, fuck you should do a lot better, but we're not his fucking parent.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy's a good person.
Yeah.
He's fun to be around.
Yeah.
And when you kind of encapsulate your friendship in that, it allows you to navigate it better. So, because why should I stress myself out?
For sure.
Putting this pressure on him for fucking what?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, as a friend, who cares for their friend and loves their friend, there's nothing wrong with like, giving your opinion. But then at the end of the day, they're a grown ass adult. They're going to have to make their own choice. You can always provide another perspective and like kind of paint another avenue for them that might be an option, but then it's ultimately up to them whether or not they want to take that.
Yeah, they're gonna work hard in the way that they want to work hard.
Yeah.
Whether I agree with it or not, it's really none of my fucking business.
Yeah, exactly.
It's none of my fucking business.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the hard part is, like you said, is when I think if well, this is not this person, but if let's say we've had these type of relationships before where a friendship ends up to a point where the person is being such a fucking loser that they continually want to take from their friends. They take when they have a solution, when they can do stuff on their own, but they rather take from you rather than doing it.
See, that's when the line gets crossed, though.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you just want to do you and without it really affecting anybody else, that's your that's your prerogative. If you want a handout and like, be an opportunist,
you're a freeloader.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a fucking freeloader.
Then that's when it's like, all right, man, I'm done with your ass. You
yeah,
know,
because it's hard, right? Like, let's say you have somebody who, like you have a friend who consistently asks you for money all the time, but then you ask him, yo, what did you do this week? He's like, I was just playing games all day.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Chilling.
Yeah. Fuck you,
my
bitch.
money ain't fucking chilling in my pocket, though. That you owe me.
Don't give me that shit. I could buy Subway today, bitch. Fucking give that shit back. Yeah. But that's the part where that line gets crossed a lot, because now you're choosing to be quote unquote lazy. You're choosing to take from the people around you, even when you have the ability to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's where that shit becomes a little weird, because I genuinely tend not to lend money.
Yeah.
I only give money.
Yeah.
So it's I know you're a good person, you're in a rough spot, I'll give you this $1,000. I don't expect it to be returned back.
Yeah.
But that starts coming around 3 times, 4 times. It's like, now you're trying to get killed. Now you're trying to get stabbed, dude.
Yeah. Nah, I cut out people like that from my life like a while back, man. Because once I recognize it, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, just because, we're friends and we have that history and relationship, I give you the benefit of the doubt, right? But then I think beyond the second time, that's when it's like, okay, that's it.
Dude, I have a mutual friend with somebody else. This guy is like the ultimate fucking freeloader. I think he owes my friend close to like $20,000.
Holy shit! Yeah.
It's some ridiculous fucking number over time.
Yeah.
And when you're doing well, you want to be able to help your friends just because of whatever the history that you have, and you want to be a down ass friend.
Absolutely.
But that starts to accumulate after a while, right? Yeah. And then lo and behold, a lot of us found out through other mutual friends, like the reason why he was borrowing money wasn't because some bad shit happened or things that were out of his control. The fucker has a gambling issue.
I knew it. I fucking
right. And this is the shit that pisses me off the most, right?
Yeah.
Gambling fucking issue, but on Twitter and then Instagram, it's like you owe 20 G's to your homies and shit like that.
Yeah.
But you're fucking flaunting the new J's that you got, these new clothes, and then you're putting up inspirational quotes about hustling and working hard. I will fucking kill you.
The worst of the worst,
I will,
man.
I will. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna be like, you're fucking schizophrenic. I will butt fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? And you best believe I did say it. I will butt fuck you.
I will confuse my own sexuality just to prove a fucking point to you.
Like to quote Mike Tyson, I'm gonna fuck you in the ass till you love me, you F word.
Yeah. No, but yeah, those people are the worst of the worst. I've had experiences with those type of people too, and it's like once you see it, it's just so disgusting. You know what I mean? Like I feel dirty. I feel dirty inside. Like that I considered you a friend and I cared for you and I provided for you in a way that you needed because you needed help. You needed help, and then turns out you're just a fucking scumbag. You were just fucking trying to lie or hide things. And it's like, man,
I wish I could sit down and talk to people and understand what's going on.
No
in their
point.
head.
No fucking point, because they don't have that perspective. They don't have that sense. You know, for them, even if you tell them, hey, what you're doing is wrong, it doesn't process like that to them. For them, it's just like, so,
yeah,
you know, they're like, I told you I'm gonna pay you back. Like, what are you tripping about? You said that 10 years ago.
This is why the Italian mafia is around. This is why you need a guy named Vinny to come with the club and start breaking kneecaps.
Hey, where's my fucking money?
Yeah. Hey, where's my fucking money, you gook? What the fuck's my money, huh? Yeah. Does my club gotta talk to your 2 kneecaps and have a rough conversation with you? Huh?
But yeah, man, the best thing to do is just to cut people like, I mean, it's even worse when you got family like that too. You know,
family is rough, man. Like I've had some dog. You want to talk about some money? Always fucks up Korean families.
For sure,
I don't know what it is about Korean people, and I'm obviously because I'm a Korean person, but I had a situation with a family member who, listen, I can't even wrap my head around this because. So essentially, what happened with this family member? My dad, as the oldest son, has been taking care of his parents, right?
Yeah.
When my parents first came to this country, as the oldest son, my dad had to make ends meet. And I remember he obviously had to pay for the apartment and all this other stuff. Now, originally, him and his siblings would split it up, right? Well, one of his siblings later on, because my grandparents' physical state was getting really fucked up, somebody had to take care of my grandpa. Couldn't live at the house by himself.
Yeah.
So originally what happened was that one of his relatives decided to take him in, and they decided that it was too much. So my dad was like, it's okay, just bring him over to the house, right? Because I lived there too, so I could help out making meals or whatever. So he was getting a Social Security check, right? For I forgot how many X amount of months. Lo and behold, 6, 7, 8 months, or it could have been even a little longer. We weren't seeing any checks, right? And mind you, these checks that were coming in, we ain't spending it. We're buying him clothes, we're buying him food, any type of food that he wanted to eat. We were gonna get it for him, right? None of these checks were coming in. And so my dad just, he's busy doing his own thing. He's a pastor. He runs his own business. He's doing all this other stuff. He asked me to go take care of it, make some phone calls. So I started making phone calls and asking where the checks were. They're like, yo, the checks have been cashed. I'm like, how can the checks be cashed? We haven't received any of them, right? So that shit, apparently they called and they got those checks rerouted to their house, and they were using my grandpa's Social Security checks. For whatever fucking reason.
Oh man.
And could you imagine the fucking rage my dad had? Like, because it's not like you're taking money from us, you're taking money from your own parent.
Yeah, dude, who's fucking helpless. Like,
exactly. And so my dad's, paying all the stuff out of his pocket, which isn't a problem because that's his dad.
That's not the point.
That's my grandpa's money.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so having to have, and I couldn't, first of all, it wasn't an absorbent amount of money. It wasn't a lot. It was maybe $600 a month, right? What the fuck were you thinking? And were you not thinking that we were going to find out? And I had to deal with this stuff. And it came to the point where our other relatives were like, yo, why are you guys so upset at her? We couldn't even say anything because we didn't want them to look at this person like a piece of shit. Yeah. Because we're trying to save face for the whole family, and I just don't want to deal with drama. Yeah. And so, we're just like, they just did some weird shit. Yeah. Still haven't told them till this day about what the specific relative did. Yeah. But that's fucked up. You literally stole money from your parents.
Dude, that's a huge scumbag move,
man. That's some scumbag shit.
Yeah. Oh man, I got plenty of stories like that with my family too, bro. Like when my grandpa in Korea passed away. In his will, he left behind land, and I think on my mom's side, there's like 6. She has 5 other siblings, but anyway, the oldest one is a son, right? And he actually did really well for himself because when he was growing up, since he was the firstborn son, like my grandparents, they did anything and everything to like push him, right? His education, his college, and you gotta understand, like. They were out in the fucking countryside. They weren't wealthy. They were poor, with a big family. But he was a priority. And so long story short, he ended up becoming pretty damn fucking wealthy. I think he ended up becoming like the president of a major bank in Korea and all this shit. Yeah. But
it's amazing.
When the when it came time to splitting the will and splitting the land, he was trying to take it all for himself.
What the fuck, man?
It's like, dude, you're the last fucking person who needs it.
Yeah.
You know, you got younger siblings who are actually fucking struggling who could use it. And it's like, you trying to. So there was this whole fucking mess with that, like fighting going on with the siblings. And then like the grandpa situation you mentioned. So my grandpa, he passed away, I think it was at 90, you know, God rest his soul, but maybe about when he was 86, 87, he met this like random fucking pastor on the street. I don't really know how, right? But he was maybe like young 40s, late 30s type of dude. And he started living with my fucking grandpa at his senior citizen community.
What the fuck? How? They can't.
So I asked I thought that guy had a relation in our family, like he was a distant cousin or something like that.
Yeah.
And so my grandpa was just taking him in because he just got here to the country. I thought it was something.
Yeah.
It turns out this guy was a complete fucking stranger.
Artist, huh?
But I don't know. I really don't know. And then I guess he met my grandpa somewhere and they got to talking and he needed a place to stay. So my grandpa was just like, hey, you could stay with me. So he was pretty much living off of my grandpa. And I'm pretty sure he was spending his social security checks too. And the shit that will fucking piss me off is like this dude would come to like our family get-togethers.
As a pastor?
Yeah. He would drive my grandpa, you know, to these get-togethers. And once I heard, see, for like a while, I didn't have any feelings about it because I just assumed he was like a distant family member.
Yeah.
Once I found out he wasn't, though, I was not happy with this dude coming around, man. Yeah. I wanted to say something, but my parents are like, hey, your grandpa's old. Like, he's like, you know, obviously content with having him around. I guess for them, they just saw it as him having company. Yeah. Because my grandpa refused to live, you know, with my parents or like with his other son. And then so it's just like, yeah, let him just have a companion, you know? And it's like, yeah, maybe he might not be doing the most ethical shit, but
he's getting something out of it that he wants.
But I'm like, dude, fuck that shit, man. Like, how the fuck you gonna meet a stranger on the fucking street and live with the dude? And my grandpa's place was a 1-bedroom, so I don't even know what the living arrangement was at the place.
Was freeloading off a Centurion, dude. The guy's 100 years old. Are you fucking nuts? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I was like, dude, what the fuck is up with this guy, man? And like, how do you fucking not have shame, like to do that shit? You know what I mean?
It's weird. I don't know. Why does every fucking Korean person get conned, dude? Like my dad has a lot of trust issues. Yeah. But you know what the good thing is? I feel like because he was so hyper cautious because of the terrible things that happened to him, it made me a lot more cautious as well, in a good way, where if I don't like somebody or I said something is wrong, I'd say not to. You could even ask the closest people to me, like 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I'm usually right about that person because I've seen those behaviors. From
it's a red flag.
Yeah, it's a red flag. It's like specific behaviors that I've seen my dad go through, and he made me sure to kind of watch out for these things, right? And the interesting thing about snakes and people who backstab you too, they're the most likable human beings. They don't come into your circle or your group because they're terrible people. It's not there in the front, but you can kind of smell it on them. There's something off about how they behave towards you, or they open up to you too fast. And it's like, what do you want? And it makes you kind of almost sound like a very pessimistic person. But it's not that. It's just I've been around people enough to know that most people don't give that much on first meeting somebody without expecting something in return. For sure, right?
Man. For sure.
Unless they're balling out of their fucking mind and you're just a maggot and you're just a blip in their world. Right?
No, I mean, look, man. Sometimes people you just have kind and giving people. And like, you know, I really appreciate when I come across those type of people because they're far and few now, right? But at the same time, there's a fine line between a person who's just giving and kind and a person who's giving because they, like you said, want something in return or is looking for a come up. It's just being opportunistic, you know? Especially in a place like LA, right? I mean, I'm sure you've had your fair share of dealing with scumbags here.
This city is very odd too because, and I always want to kind of reference or encompass this piece of advice for people who move to Los Angeles, because sometimes I get annoyed people who come into this city and they get upset at other people for doing the same thing that they're doing, right? So for example, like you'll hear a lot of young creators, they talk about this shit. And this is like young creators that are probably, they're starting to pop off or whatever. And they go, yo, man, there's no real people out in LA. Like, you can't make good friends out here, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hold on a second. Pump your brakes. What did you come to LA for? And if I ask them, they go, I came to LA so I wanted to make it. I wanted to network. So you didn't come here for friendships. You got what you came here for. You came here for acquaintances that you could leech and mooch off of.
Right.
And they did the same thing back to you.
Exactly.
You have no right to say, I don't have real friends when you didn't come here for friendship. So get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Yeah. What the fuck you expect is going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, if you want to, build a relationship and cultivate a relationship, you can't approach it from a standpoint of I want something from this person. It has to be like, yo, this person's cool. I vibe with him. I want to, cultivate a friendship. I want to cultivate this friendship with him. And then certain actions come with that mindset. 100%. But then if your thing is, this person could get me some views or this person could get me some likes. Come on, man. What the fuck? If your approach is like that and it's that like, superficial.
They're not as dope as I thought they were. It's like, hold on a second, dog. You guys just collabed on a video, you dumb bitch. What made you think you were going to know who this person was?
But yeah, man, there's so many of those types of people, man. And like, well, I can't speak for other major cities because I haven't spent enough time in other major cities. But in LA, anyway, you got a lot of creators here. You got a lot of musicians. You got a lot of actors or aspiring, and man, you just come across some pretty shit human beings, man.
Yeah, Los Angeles has a very interesting vibe when it comes to that stuff. Like I love the city. I've lived here now for 11 years. Yeah. So it's become 11 years now, man. Yeah. So it's become home. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still have love for my hometown, Sacramento. Right. But I've lived here for a fat chunk of my life now.
So much so that you're a Laker fan now.
No, absolutely not. That shit is like, I give a fuck that you guys won a championship. I literally could care less. Fucking everybody hit me out. Yo, we did it. We? What you mean we? Bitch, I ain't no Laker fan. They're like, we did it. Get the fuck out of here, dog. The only reason why I was happy Lakers won was because of Kobe.
I know.
Because Kobe just passed. I was like, I want that ring for them.
For sure. For sure.
Plus, because I knew Sacramento wasn't going to get no ring. So I'm like, I got to vote for somebody.
Yeah.
Everybody was hyped about that win, dude. I've never seen.
I wasn't. I mean, look, it's great to get a chip in the year that Kobe passed, for sure. I think that's fantastic, but it's always going to be an asterisk championship, and like some people think the feat is greater that it happened during a time of like civil unrest, social injustice, a pandemic, like all this shit going on. And to an extent, I do agree that that's a big factor. Yeah. But I don't know if I could necessarily say it made it harder, because the thing is, not all the players were there, not all the teams were there. And it was like super condensed, the remainder of the season. So I'm just like, I mean, it
was hard for me to watch basketball this season.
Yeah, dude. It just
there's no crowd. Doesn't feel the same.
It got to the point where they started implementing crowd noise. Yeah. It's like, it still doesn't feel. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm like, dog, what the fuck is this shit?
Now, I feel like certain sports without a crowd, it makes it less entertaining. But then something like MMA, it makes it so much more raw. Yeah,
because you can hear skulls
like
crush.
You're like, oh, that hurt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When people talk about like, yo, man, I can't believe like that fool got knocked out so easy. Yeah. I don't think you understand. Those gloves are about like an inch thick. Yeah. The only thing it's doing is protecting the fighter's hands. Yeah. It's not protecting their face. Yeah. And you're just getting socked up. Yeah. Like legit hard socks. Yeah. Right. And that's why I'm always saying, like, if you're a UFC fan or anything else, just try training a little bit, and then it'll help you understand the sport a little more. Right. I think that was a good idea for people to understand how hard they're working, because you could hear them breathe super heavy, and I'm like, oh, that wall work and that groundwork that they're doing right now is exhausting. Yeah. Because before you just hear a crowd scream and you're mad at them for not doing anything, and I'm like, look at them. Yeah. Now it's so much more intimate, and it's like, you definitely have a newfound respect for the fighters, because it's like, did you just see Ferguson take that hit from Gaethje and just fucking be completely unfazed? Yeah. Like 90% of people will be knocked out on their fucking ass cold, you know? But it's like, because you hear it, you feel it because you hear it, Yeah. And so
I got more. I mean, I've always been a UFC fan, but like during the pandemic, I became more invested in it because it feels so much more
Well, it was
raw.
the only sport around for the hottest time. The UFC did such a great job in capitalizing on that. They're like, you guys don't have sports. I'm the only sport that you have. Blew up.
Props to Dana White, man. When he
got it done.
Yeah, when he first started talking about, hey, we're gonna be the first organization to come back. I was like, okay, I admire the motivation and the fire you got, but like realistically, how can you get this done?
He got it done, and then everybody took his blueprint and they started opening up other sports.
What they did in the fucking bubble in Abu Dhabi, that shit's crazy, man. It's fucking nuts. And the fact that they've had 0 infections, since they started this run.
They've done a great job. They get tested multiple times before you even get to be in the bubble.
Yeah, right.
Like in the moment they find out you have it, you get the fuck out.
Right.
You're gone.
So I think it's he clarified that of like people have tested before they got there and tested positive, but nobody once they're in the bubble. Yeah, nobody's tested positive, and they're constantly testing throughout the whole thing. Yeah, but then I watch kind of like the insider episodes on YouTube and shit, and then like kind of what they got going on there is just like, dude, that kind of seems like a unique experience that would be fun to have.
I mean, you're on an island by yourself. Not by yourself, but it's like what, maybe 200, 300 people there.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and then you got like the service, and then like everything, the restaurants and the food that's all available to you. I'm like,
if you stayed with that one girl, that could have been your whole life, dude. But you fucked up, man.
Gotta bring that. You always gotta circle back to that.
You didn't have to imagine that could have been you, dude.
Oh man, it's okay.
I miss that girl. I think her name was Sarah or something like that. I forgot her name, but I miss you, dude. Actually, I didn't even know she was balling like that until after you guys broke up. She was so good at hiding it. Well, she didn't need really. She was just a really sweet girl. You just never would think it.
Yeah. I mean, it was just one of those things where it's like it wasn't flaunted, the wealth. So if you just an outsider looking in, you would never be able to tell.
Oh, 100%.
It's not like one of these people who are fucking pulling up in like a Bentley, and
she damn well could if she wanted to.
I mean, shit, you see all those international students, 19 years. I remember when you were doing your drips and swirls thing. And then I think it was one of the grand opening week, right?
I'm talking about those Chinese fobs that rolled up.
Yeah, bro. I was like, yo, there's a fucking McLaren. Yep. There's a fucking Bentley.
And first of all, let's talk about that McLaren where that kid scraped the shit out of it. I was like, dog, are you fucking nuts?
Yeah, dude. And they were like 19. They look like fucking babies. I'm like, holy shit, bro. You guys are driving like $150,000 cars.
I appreciate you for being a fan, but fuck you, man.
Yeah, it's like, hey, whatever your family's doing, let me get involved in that, bro.
So I was talking to one of my friends, and her dad does a lot of like real estate shit and stock investments or whatever. But he's a Chinese guy, and then I was asking him. I don't think I was asking. I think he brought up about a lot of new money and a lot of these properties being bought up. He kind of alluded to the fact that I guess something that happened in China where, these villages were gathering all their money up to buy property and land, and where these governments were subsidizing and buying the land off the people. So these are like villagers who saved up their whole money and checked like whatever, hundreds of them. Yeah. And they just cumulatively combined it together, and they all cashed out. Yeah. So they ended up being fucking millionaires.
That's tight.
So that's why you have these quote unquote mainland Chinese people who made overnight money success. Right. They just had to, kind of grind out for a bit. And they just foresaw what was going to happen. Yeah. And so this whole village is just balling now. Yeah. Millions of fucking dollars. Yeah. They don't know what to do with it. For sure. And they've never been in a society or in an area where wealth like that was common. Right. So you have people like the Disneyland people who are shitting in bags and throwing it into a fucking bush, pissing into a bottle and just, throwing it off to the side.
That's why they had to start having etiquette classes for people traveling to foreign countries.
Yeah. Stop spitting everywhere, huh? Yeah. Don't spit inside the fucking restaurant. Let's start with that. Yeah. Don't lay out a newspaper in the plane and have your kids shit in the middle of the seat. Yeah. I still can't believe that happened. Yeah. There was an article where this lady had her kid in the middle of a fucking flight. This is like them in first class, by the way, or some shit like that. Yeah. She lays out a newspaper, and the kid starts shitting on the newspaper in the middle of the flight.
But you know what I'm saying? Like when you're coming from the countryside, and you're
that's life, baby.
Yeah, exactly. You're just doing what you normally do, but you've never been taught or been exposed to like.
You remember what's that one restaurant that serves the galbichim?
Songnyeongdan.
Yeah, Songnyeongdan, right?
Yeah.
There's this one like mainland Chinese fob, dude.
Yeah.
Like, Songnyeongdan's actually a kind of like a higher class like Korean restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Super nice. Has some of the best galbichim, and galbichim is braised beef, short rib, and soy and sugar and everything else.
Yeah.
This motherfucker had a seat on, a foot on the seat like this, elbow out, chewing so fucking loud. I'm on the other side, and you see this fool chew, and rice flying out of his fucking mouth, dude.
Hell no.
Wearing like a fucking Balenciaga t-shirt and all this gaudy, expensive shit. Doesn't know how to wear it type of shit.
Yeah.
Chewing so fucking loud. Somebody actually came up to him and told him to close his fucking mouth.
Yeah, well,
it was that loud.
Hey man, like honestly, a lot of that new money don't really have class and etiquette. You know,
because that'd be me too though. You wait for me to get money. If somebody tells me to shut my fucking mouth, I'll buy you, bro. Get out of my face right now.
I got that fuck you money, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you fucking smoke a crack pipe and blow it in my ass.
And you're gonna enjoy it.
And you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely had run-ins with those type of tourists. No respect for personal space whatsoever. They invade like
at the airport.
Yeah, bro. Like their face is on your shoulder. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Back up, bro.
When I was going to Japan,
Yeah.
and we're all waiting in line to go into customs, right? There's this family trying to just cut I thought they had family members. They were trying to cut everybody. I put my suitcase in front. I said no, because it was like 12 people.
Bro, I know. They don't even care. Like they don't even seem ashamed.
Yeah, and this lady was trying to move around.
Yeah.
I looked at her. I said, no.
Yeah.
I was like, you need to go back. And then when the airport attendants came over and saw, and they're like, oh, it's like, can we help you? I was like, they're trying to cut all of us right now. And they sent the fucking family of 12 all the way to the back.
You know what I noticed was that the moment you speak English to them, though, it kind of
shakes them a little bit.
Yeah, because they assume that you're just like, you know, an Asian, maybe Korean, Chinese, whatever, right? But you're not from America. But then as soon as they know that you're American and you say speak English to them, they're just kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Like the audacity, dude. We've been waiting here for fucking an hour and a half, and you're going to cut 12. And the thing is, like, nobody knows what's really going on. And so they kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
But then I know what's up. Like, I've seen this shit. I'm like, I'm not going to wait here another hour because 12 of your family members want to do this shit.
Yeah, bro.
Fuck out of here, dude.
Definitely the getting on the airplane with that is pretty... Not a fun experience.
Yeah, they got the fucking Gucci bags and everything with the gold chain. I know exactly what you are, bro. Get the fuck to the back.
Yeah.
You're balling now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
You are not poor anymore.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous, man.
But you know, what are you gonna do, man? Like for them, it's just like they came into that money by unique circumstances in the country, and then they were like, well, what are we gonna do? Well, let's travel. Let's get out of this country and let's go see, you know, what's out there.
I just want money like that one day, man. I just want to wake up one day and just be like, I literally don't have to do anything if I don't want to.
That would be nice. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be like I need to have an extravagant lifestyle. Even if I could just travel very like bare minimum in the bare minimum way, I would be ecstatic. I'd be so happy.
Y'all, make sure you donate to us, and then I'll show you what I'll do with this money, which really isn't much. I just want to, if you guys make me retire in the next 2 years, like rich like that, I will audition to be a Jabberwocky until I get in.
Like, I got nothing better to do, so
like, yo, bro, like, hey, man, you're not gonna make it. I was like, I made a promise. I told them these people retire me. I'm auditioning every fucking year, dog. I'm over here just fucking body waving my way into this fucking position, bitch.
Oh yeah, I would if I could do that. If I could retire anytime soon, you know, like let's say from now and the next 5 years, I would just travel. Honestly, I would just I'll probably travel for at least a few years. And then if I happen to get tired of that, which I don't think I would, figure out what to do after that. But I want to see and experience so many different cultures and foods around the world. But it's time, you know? And what do you need to have more time? You need more money.
Exactly. Shit, guys. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. We every Thursdays and Sundays you can find Edric at Ed2 and also Secret Society as Secret Society. That's SCRTSOCIETY. Go ahead and cop that fucking gear. That hat on him is from Secret Society.
Yes, sir.
This cap right here is also Secret Society.
And Brain 15 for first time customers. That's
to get that 15% off.
15.
Yep. this shirt that you see me wear consistently because it feels so good.
Yeah, that's a really comfortable shirt.
Yeah, I love this fucking shirt. But we'll see you all next time.
All right, y'all. Peace.